Welcome back to the Idle Talk Minis, and today I will talk to you about The Nun 2. Now, it's directed by, let me look up that guy's name because I think Nun 2 director, real quick. He directed Michael Chavez, that's his name. He's directed a bunch of movies in the Conjuring verse. I think he has the most films by a single director in that universe. And I think his worst one was La Llorona, The Curse of La Llorona. And the Nun 2 not only is an improvement on the Nun 1, but it is an improvement on the directing abilities of Michael Chavez. Now, let me explain to you Nun 1 before we get into it. Basically, it's like a snooze fest the whole time. I've seen people compare the Nun 2 to the Nun 1, and that is exactly the same. I don't think it is, because the Nun 2 has captured my attention more often than the Nun 1, and I watched it 3 times in preparation for the Nun 2. Why did I watch it 3 times? Because the first time I was too busy doing graduate school work, so I didn't really catch what was going on and what they were saying. The second time was because my sister's watching it with me. Again, we were doing other things at the same time because of how boring the movie was. We weren't really that invested into it. Now the third time we finally sat down and finally started like picking apart the movie as it was going on. So the Nun 1, basically, we've got Sister Irene. She pulls up, right? She's not your usual nun. And this demon is described to take on a disrespectful form as a nun as well, to blend in with all these other nuns at that place that they were at. I'm not going to tell you where it's at. You know why? Because I can't remember and I didn't write it down. But nevertheless, all the nuns are dead, and she and another priest have to go in and basically like Batman and Robin this demon back to hell. Now they meet a guy named Frenchie, so he is going to be a pivotal character in this because there's an opportunity at the end for Frenchie to save himself, and he doesn't do that. He goes back to save Sister Irene, and I skipped a lot from the first point when we met that guy all the way to the very end, because that's the end of the movie. Everything in between, I don't really think is that important besides laying some little sprinkles if you're really paying attention and you really remember that going into the Nun 2. But nevertheless, that's why I don't think the Nun 1 is that great of a movie. It still fits in the Conjuring universe and it serves as a stepping stone, because in one of the other Conjurings, I can't remember which one, but the guy is doing an exorcism on Frenchie, our boy. And what does that tell you? That tells me that no matter what happens in the Nun 2, we have to see Frenchie again. Why? Because we didn't see that first exorcism. We didn't see that exorcism in the first movie. And after watching the second movie, we have not seen that exorcism in this movie. And so that's a bit of a spoiler. But I think Frenchie is a key component to the Conjuring verse as a whole. I think Valak is the demon that takes its form as the nun. But the Nun 2, let's talk about the Nun 2. I gave you, I've established that, Frenchie goes back and saves Sister Irene, and that is when he kind of gets like infected. It's an infection that he gets, like she vomits in his face. I mean, I'm not into that, but that leads into the Nun 2. So if I were to rate the Nun 1, I'd probably say that's a solid like 4, maybe 5. Because I like the universe, the cinematic universe that it's in. But I would rate that a 4 to 5. 4 or 5 out of 10. The Nun 2, on the other hand, that I am shamelessly going to rate that an 8 out of 10, because shout out to Storm Reed, by the way. She was cast in the Nun 2 as another nun, but she was not very nun-like, and she did not do nun things. The only thing that she really did that was kind of like nun-ish, is that how we describe nuns? But she threw herself selflessly, I don't know words, but she threw herself in between a demon of some sorts and children who were innocent, but not really. So she was a great addition. I was very surprised to see her. I'm like, what the fuck is this girl here? But ultimately, her character throughout the movie, I quite enjoyed. It kind of grew on me as I was first shocked to see her, and then I was like, okay, I hope I see her again in another movie. But then again, I don't hope I see her again in another movie, because why does her character have to suffer in that way? I will say the criticism of the Nun 2 basically being a carbon copy of the Nun 1 is wrong, but I can see why. Basically, Sister Irene teams up with another religious person. So it's again Storm Reed's character, right? She's also a nun, but instead of teaming up with the pastor, she teams up with another nun. But she was supposed to go by herself, but she hopped on the train and went with her. Anyway, shout out to her. So basically, to get two religious people teaming up to take down a demon. And again, that's what happened. That's the story there. But this time, the nun is fucking up religious figures in the church, in their churches, like hanging nuns off a building, burning a man alive in front of a child, a bunch of other crazy shit that we get to see like through pictures, like off screen. We don't get to see them, but we do see the burning of that man at the beginning of the movie, and it's awesome. Visual effects were on point. So Sister Irene is like, nah, I don't want to go do that. I don't want to fight that nun again. And the pastor's like, huh? He's like, bro, we need you right now. And she's like, but I don't want to. And ultimately, he kind of gaslights her into thinking that she is their only hope. I mean, why didn't you just get everybody like around and then like 50v1 her instead of sending her by herself? Luckily, Storm Reed's character goes along for the journey, and they learn that the reason why the nun is traveling the way she has been throughout this continent was because of our boy Frenchie, who ends up at a boarding school for girls, and he's having this like little thing with the teacher, one of the teachers. He's like, yo, I'm feeling you, your daughter approves of me, and you're feeling me back. I'm like, is this the vibes? Are these the vibes? Am I picking up on the vibes, the correct vibes? But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, because he went to save Sister Irene at the end of the last movie, they had a moment. They had a little cute moment where you would think, oh, these kids are gonna get together. But they don't. You know why? Because he's now fucking with this teacher, and they're cute, and he basically kickstarted a family for himself. She already has a daughter, so he just swoops in and is a father. Everything's all happy and good. But then the reason why Sister Irene pulls up is because the main woman, like in charge of this boarding school, dies, and the parents are coming to pick up their kids from the boarding school, and so it's that night after most of the kids have gotten picked up, where a few girls are left in their room. Parents probably gonna come the next day. Frenchie is there with his girl, but all of a sudden, that boy starts shaking like a seizure, right? He starts falling down, and she notices, like, yo, you got something under your skin in your neck. This crazy scene happens. Like, they all get scared. They're all running away. They're running out the door, like, don't even bother warning the children who are upstairs sleeping. She's like, I'm out of here. And then they run into Sister Irene, and Irene has been having visions this whole time. This whole time, she's been like, bro, you're the problem. You're actually you're the reason why this is happening. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, get away from her. And then all of a sudden, the nun pops up, takes over our boy. And that's the climax of the movie. And I will say, I did enjoy the climax of the movie. We got to see a werewolf or a wolf or something. Some kind of wolf demon manifest itself and attack Storm 3's characters and the girls. They ultimately escape and survive that. And we got to see Frenchie and Irene and Storm after she eventually pulls up, and the little girl who was kind of like our secondary main character. We kind of got to like vibe with her throughout the movie. She had to like battle Frenchie and save his soul, pretty much. Ultimately, the day is saved after they beat the nun in like a little like wine cellar area. But that is not the last we're gonna see of the nun. I truly believe we are gonna get a Nun 3, and we probably will get a definitive close to the Sister Irene Valak chapter. I think there's only one way to kind of go with that. I think ultimately Sister Irene just has to lose one of these times, not survive, even though she has a God-given ability to kind of do things better than most priests could, even though she's not a priest, even though she doesn't get credited as one or as an exorcist or anything like that. Ultimately, I will go on Letterboxd right now. We'll do this live. Not live, but live. And I will see, did I rate The Nun 2? Let's see what Fernando might have thought earlier. I'm pretty sure I did. The Nun 2, what did I give it? I gave The Nun 2 3.5 stars. And after a few weeks of, I guess already, so after giving The Nun 2 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, after a few weeks, I still agree with my previous self. I just do believe that Storm Reed's character was a weird but great addition to this cast. And ultimately, I don't know where we're going to head with story-wise, but I am excited for the Conjuring verse to expand its reach on the horror genre. But that was today's Idle Talk Mini, and I hope you liked it. I hope you go watch The Nun too. I don't think it's in theaters anymore now that I said that sentence out of my mouth. But when it comes to streaming, watch it. I think Michael Chavez, shout out to that guy. He did a better job than he did on La Llorona. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.